Move one more muscle, Chief, and I'll blow the whole place with you in it.
Chill. No need to get excited.
Who the fuck are you? And what are you doing in my flat? You with Albion?
No, we're more underground.
What, DedSec? Yeah, right, and I'm Che Guevara. You done?
Listen! You're wasting time! Right now, you've got to run. Albion's coming!
Fuck me. You're telling the truth, aren't you? Fucking hell, thought I was careful. Fucking idiot, Amish! Look, Cass is worse than you know.
Oh, thanks. I know. Why else would I be risking my ass here?
Maybe, because Nigel Cass is paying you. That's how fucking mercs work.
Oh, come on. Not a friend of Cass here. We need your help taking him down, alright? He's behind the bombings.
Mate, you don't know shit. You have no idea what Cass is and what... Move! Fuck! An Albion squad's closing in on you. I guess you weren't lying about that part. Fuck.
Nigga!
Aye.
Bagley here. How did everything go earlier?
All right. We might have found some fresh meat. What's up?
How's Trix?
You're up. What shall we do today?
I hate putting Mary Kelly on the back burner while she continues to destroy lives with those microchips, but for now, we've no choice.
Then perhaps it's time to have a closer look at the elephant in the room. Nigel Cass, billionaire warmonger and current CEO of our local horde of thugs, Albion BMC.
Cass certainly profited most from the bombings. We can inspire London to resist from now till forever, but it still won't break Albion's grip on the city. Not with Cass at the top.
Wait, seriously? You mean you have a plan to take down the scumbag in charge of the private merc securing London? Fuck yeah, I'm all in!
Bagley's come across a possible gap in Cass's armor. An ex-insider, ex-friend with an axe to grind. He'd be an asset if we can find and convince him to work with us. Come to the safe house. We'll talk it through.
Auto drive is not available.
How are you doing? I hope you don't mind me getting situated in your safe house. Crime marches on, and so will I. There are still cases that need to be closed, if you'll help me.
On it.
Excellent. I uploaded a case to Bagley. He can brief you on it.
Do I seriously need to be the one to say this? We're working with a cop. A bloody cop.
I know it sounds insane, but it could be insane enough to work. Lau isn't your typical cop.
Please. Cops become cops for the same power-hungry, ego-driven reasons.
You're acting like she's some Albion goon. Give her a chance. She might, surprise you.
Right, well, I just hope we don't get kicked in the knickers for this one.
You know what we do with terrorists, Lopez? Don't go pissing me off by denying anything. We know you're with DedSec. You think you were picked up on some random sweep? Not a fucking chance. Nothing to say. Well, this is not going to go well for you then, because I want information. The rest of your cell, where are they? I want names, places, everything you've got.
You think I'm daft? I spill everything I know and what? You let me go? I'm not talking. I know how this ends.
Oh, I don't think you do. I'm going to throw you to the wolves. The Kellys have an interesting way of disposing with problems.
You think I'm scared of some fucking thugs? Of winding up floating in the Thames?
You're too pretty for that, mate. First, they'll peddle you. For dosh, right? Then, when you're used up, they're going to chop you up and send the pieces to the Four Corners.
I can take whatever you've got.
I almost feel sorry for you. Get him to the bloody clinic, then.
Man, just listen.
What? What's going on, mate?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Bloody hell, man. You won't believe what I'm seeing. Fuck!
What?
They're burning corpses. Human bodies. This place was supposed to be closed. A perfect spot for a zoo, man. Fuck! There's crates of innards here. What the bloody fuck? What the fuck did I take?
Just chill. You're paranoid.
Yo, one of them's looking over. Wait.
Where are you? Who's looking over?
The old incinerator, man. Oh, this is heavy.
Yo, mate. Hey. You there?
I'm quite excited to share this with you, the Board of Directors. The facility will be an extension of my quantum computing lab and will house certain other endeavors that I prefer not to share during this presentation. This is valuable real estate you have under your feet. It's as if you've been waiting for me to put it to good use.
He's looking to automate our jobs, mate. This is no joke.
Director Cass? You're serious? Who told you that?
Friend over in R&D. The shit he's told me about background checks and knowing who's going to be useful to Albion, who's going to be a problem.
You that worried about your job? This is a PMC. They already do background checks on all of us.
Oh, you don't get it. He was talking about the general population, not just us employees. How bad is it that everyone has to be watched that closely?
Well, look around. It's fucking bad. And Cass is going to do what he has to keep it from getting worse. Suggest you do the same. Take this down. The Tone bombing presents us with an excellent opportunity. Once we've taken full possession of the site, it gives us a good vantage point on the Thames and provides us with a cover of activity to mask some of our own higher risk activities.
This is London Calling. You're listening to me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. This time we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GBB. As we know, the broadcaster has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from his corporate backers and privatized the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of anonymity for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Charles, who's seen free broadcasters built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
So before the media fragmented, there was this voice of authority that was trusted and worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a smart device or whether you're talking about a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible, and because that meant money in their pocket. And in order to do that, a couple of things happened. One was the use of manipulative techniques around behavioral economics, things that would just keep you scrolling or keep you listening or keep you looking for more information. The second is that that kind of environment favors sensationalism. And so you got more sensational headlines and more sensational stories, and it didn't matter whether they were true or not. It just kept people in and it kept them in the loop. So we ended up in a situation where nobody trusted anything and nobody believed anything at all. And that is the perfect environment for an authoritarian voice to come in and say, no, wait, we are the truth. So the ground for this environment really got created when we had suddenly authoritarian politicians everywhere, and anything that threatened them or they disagreed with, they would call it disinformation. That's disinformation, that's fake news. And again, we got in a situation where nobody really believed anything. And the trouble is if you were telling the truth, it's very hard to get your message to cut through all of the noise of all of the disinformation that's there. So like, you remember Out on the Edges, there was this story about when they would take a house by force, they would take any infants and they would crucify them. And that's a great, fantastic, viral story. And how do you counter that story? With the truth. The only way you can counter it is by saying, no, they didn't. And of course, no one wants to spread that story. No one wants to hear that story. They want to hear the sensationalism. They want to hear how people were victims of violence when in fact they weren't. Or they were victims of insurgent forces when in fact they weren't.
The news isn't neutral, it's a battleground. Here's media researcher and academic Alfie.
The media has, of course, been perhaps the key way in which governments have controlled and influenced their populations. So, totalitarian countries have typically used huge mainstream media outlets to sell one kind of news, one kind of biased news to its population. Of course, the media has always played this kind of key role in methods of state control. I think what's happening now is perhaps even more concerning, where you previously, in pre-crisis pre-crisis Britain, we had perhaps more diverse voices in the media, but now with the GBB, you're really only seeing one brand of news and therefore only getting one truth. So people end up with a very biased and controlled idea of the reality and the world that we're actually living in. There was, of course, many concerns and many problems, but in a way there were some positive things that, like, not all information was coming from one place, and so you'd have kind of far-right media outlets developing and then left-wing media outlets developing to combat those and kind of challenge the mainstream newspapers, TV stations, radios, and make sure people were questioning the validity and truth of the information they were receiving. So whilst there was the digital afforded more fake information, it also makes us suspicious and skeptical of information and makes us question the information we're getting. And I think in pre-crisis Britain, it might not have seemed great at the time, but there was something positive about that there was a lot of distrust in the media and in the different kinds of truths that were being told. Whereas now, I think you're seeing a return to a more traditional and older pre-digital sense, actually, of people just trusting what they're told, and that's why we have to be here with radio stations like this to challenge those conceptions. Most citizens feel pretty hopeless, I think, and unable to fight back against these kind of huge mainstream corporations that simply entrench and support the ideals and ideologies of the state. It can seem very hopeless indeed, but I think, you know, the fact that you're out there listening, we're in here talking, shows that there is still a space to combat these false truths and disinformation that's being sold to us, and that it's never possible really to completely shut down. Despite all the technologies that they have at their disposal and all the financial and corporate power and all the physical power, it's never quite possible to shut down people's desire to get to the truth and fight for their own ideologies and values. And you know, we're out here starting that task, so don't give up hope.
You've been listening to Buccaneer with me, Tash. We'll be back soon with more of what you'll never hear on the GBB. Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep resisting.
This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. Well, former inspector now. Since Albion's coup, the Met is no more. The police brass had already buried the evidence anyway. Everything implicating Albion and Clan Kelly in the bombings. But I know Mary Kelly's band of twats were involved, and they're involved in other crimes we can look into. Me and a few good mates are willing to go off book, going after Mary Kelly again. I'll never fucking learn, will I?
Welcome back to The Upload. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency. Crypto now seems like it's been around forever, but it's really quite a new invention. Were you an early adopter?
I was one of the first that was in this market. There seemed to be a new way of financial transactions, a new way of money. It's something that we could completely reinvent and change some of the legacy financial systems around the world and really give power back to the people.
Yeah, it was a real shift in the way that the world works. Let's recap the basics. Central to cryptocurrency is the distributed ledger technology, the tech that keeps track of all transactions. And what this means is you can have a decentralized system without having to trust any one party, like old-fashioned banks.
One of the reasons why I got involved so early was that you could stay anonymous.
Yeah, the features of cryptocurrency very much fit into that early mindset. It was all about finding an alternative to centralized systems. It was kind of a countercultural punk ethos. The whole point of the distributed ledger is you're not trusting any one person to keep a track of who has what money or how they're spending it. It's all out there in the open for anyone to see, and yet you can remain secretive.
But not everybody now wants to keep up this crypto legacy. They don't share this attitude anymore. We've seen institutions, businesses, even governments experimenting with crypto, which doesn't really fit into its original radical counterculture mold.
Yeah, it's kind of weird today to think of people not using cryptocurrency. It's so mainstream now. You know, I'm almost nostalgic for the feel of cash. Good old-fashioned paper and coins. First they changed the paper notes to plastic notes, and now it's just all digital. There's nothing to hold on to.
It was great just to be able to have a little bit of money to carry around with you.
I think the turning point in the UK really came a few years ago when the pound dropped 10% over just one season. People living off grid started using crypto, and just as everyone was losing faith in the pound, they were gaining it in cryptocurrency, which turned out to be much more stable. Kind of the opposite to what people thought in the beginning.
And then, of course, there was the recession. It didn't take long for startups to see an opportunity in this new way of doing finance. A lot of traditional money was converted to crypto, and it really shook up the financial sector.
Can you remember when they first introduced crypto cash points?
That was really sneaky. It was a classic startup behavior. They just installed them everywhere. No consultation with the government, no approval or anything, but people immediately started to use them.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of how Bloom put out the Optic. They just made it free and flooded the streets with these devices. Suddenly, everyone had them.
If there's this great option of tech, people are just going to start using it, no matter the cost.
Parliament actually tried to put a stop to the cash points, but people were using them so much already. There was outrage. I mean, some parts of London were already using crypto as their primary currency by then.
And now, apparently, or at least in theory, crypto is illegal.
Yeah, in May this year, economists found that crypto was being traded more than the pound, and banks were not happy. They basically forced the government to ban cryptocurrency in a last-ditch effort to save the pound.
But it's not like that's worked. People are still using crypto, and it's been pushed further, deeper underground. Things used to work fine with crypto, and it was just a peer-to-peer sharing economy-style system. Now it's all on the dark web and wrapped up again in organized crime.
Yeah, if you want to make something thrive on the black market, just make it illegal.
Clan Kelly's been sending a ton of crypto to an unknown party in Cairo. Something to do with Kronos X.
Yeah, it's a new drug off the dark web. Jakes was trying to keep it off the streets. You know, when they actually used to try.
It's a highly addictive psychotropic with a staggeringly high fatality rate that stands to make Clan Kelly a lot of money.
Yeah, at what cost?
Well, the phrase Finsbury New Project keeps popping up in their comms, if you'd like to take a look into it.
Surprise, you twat. Between my work with 404 and tracking down Sky Larson's neural map nightmares, I thought I could do with a new workspace. I could do with your help as well. I just clocked a hit and run by a black cab. Happened a while ago, but the news ain't picking up on it.
Okay, so?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because all of London's black cabs are driverless, run by AI.
Right. Okay.
This is an interesting bit of literature. A journalist has implicated Albion in the disappearance of his source. He claims to have video evidence. We can find this paragon of the Fifth Estate at Food Town if you feel like contributing to another black eye for Albion.
Yo, what's up?
Just read Sky Larson's obituary on my optic. I'll share it with you. It's good for a laugh.
Hey now, the woman is dead.
Hey, fuck that. You know what sick shit she was up to? What, are you moist, blood?
I get that, but I don't like to dance on someone's grave. It feels gross.
Look, I'm just being real here, cuz. We took down a bad person, and I'm just fucking proud of it.
Yeah, whatever.
In a shocking example of privacy invasion, the hacker group known as DeadSec have leaked sex tapes belonging to local celebrity and MP candidate Vanessa Ahmed. Despite the video's poor quality, she can be seen engaging.
What the?
It appears someone has committed a sex crime against a celebrity in our name. Unless one of you did this without me knowing.
Why would DeadSec leak sex tapes? How is that going to help us liberate London?
I'm assuming you don't watch TV news because you're capable of passing sentences with more than 4 words. So, just so you know, Ms. Ahmed is presently at the Crozier and Cherry Tree pub in Camden, dodging awkward questions about her bottom.
Thanks, Bags. We can't have a celebrity sex video trashing our credibility. We'd better tell her that it wasn't us and see if we can get her to stop slagging us off on social media. Hi.
Yo, what's good?
I'm still freaked out by that horror show of an AI lab.
Yeah.
Stealing people's brains and her own mother? How evil is that?
The most messed up thing about it is that they're still alive. It's like the minds have been hacked away until there's just enough left for them to know what's happened to them. And they're like going to be like that for like ever, bruv.
That's so... I don't even know what it is. Chee. But I hate it.
There's fate worse than death, cuz. Just don't let nothing like that happen to me. Control, Alt, Delete. You get me?
Right, let's talk about Albion PMC, the only British organisation to successfully oppress more of the developing world than the British government. Led by Nigel Cass, a man the partisan media calls a charismatic visionary, and Amnesty International calls a war criminal. Albion was given the key to the city to re-establish order following the bombings.
It's shady as fuck already.
It is. So that's 2 reasons why we need to find an angle on Cass.
We've found one. His name, Hamish Balaji. Born in London, Balaji was a recipient of the Cass Foundation Technical Scholarship at 14, which included a mentorship with Cass himself. At 16, Balaji designed Cass's first drone fleet. Fun fact, Cass delayed the launch by a week so it would land on Balaji's birthday.
Cass sounds like Balaji's second dad. Why would he help us?
They had a falling out after an incident in the Niger Delta 3 years ago. A buried human rights investigation accuses Cass of ordering a drone fleet to wipe out a village protesting the construction of a pipeline, but the drones malfunctioned before they could. Balaji is named as the likely saboteur. He's been on the run ever since, but now tracking data shows he's reappeared in London.
Shit, he's looking for redemption like with the protesters. This guy designed Cass's drone fleet. I think he's trying to disarm Albion.
He covers his tracks well, but that's a good guess. Unfortunately, according to this Albion intelligence report intercepted by our friend Caitlin Lau, Cass knows Balaji's in London as well. So, that's the op. Make contact with Balaji before Albion finds him. Then convince him we have a mutual enemy in Cass.
So this guy's our best chance to stop Albion and clear our names. And the largest private army on Earth wants him dead. No pressure.
It took some doing, but I've narrowed down the area where we're most likely to find Hamish Balaji. I've pushed the coordinates to your optic.
London's live. Take a breath. Nothing long. We promise it'll help. Seriously, come on. Take a step back and pull out. Oh, shut up.
This is more my speed.
It is your duty to maintain order.
Malaji has been snooping into Albion's affairs. Quietly, of course, but I've been able to determine that most of his activity stems from this area.
Time to meet this mystery man.
Not so fast. Hamish isn't in, according to his home security. And before you get ideas, he's rigged his front door to a series of traps designed to delete all of his data and then your life. Not necessarily in that order.
My guy is proper paranoid, innit?
To be fair, you are an armed insurgent trying to break into his flat. Anyway, you should be able to connect to the local grid and use security cameras to disarm his traps.
Noted.
A little personal space, please.
No, she's in the kitchen on the right. Yes, I did. It's in the kitchen. Will you let me finish? Yes, it's in the kitchen. Right-hand side. When you walk in.
Yeah, no worries, love.
I believe the main interface is on the rooftop.
Hey, there's a window up there. What do you think?
Sure, if you can get there. 3 options here. 1, use the window washing platform. 2, find a cargo drone. 3, give up, go home, and resolve to be a better person.
On it.
I will have to apply force.
That hurts! Come on, easy. Easy.
Filming is commencing for the Global British Broadcasting Network.
All units. Possible suspect or suspects reported near your location. Monitoring for unusual activity.
Check the surroundings.
Anyone?
Where's the HQ?
I think we lost him.
This is pointless.
Not very inviting. The whole place is wired.
You could force the traps to unlock by rewiring the power.
On it.
Welcome to Claire and Present Danger, and welcome to Fascist London. Don't let that boot on the back of your neck disturb you. In time, you'll barely feel it. We have to wake up, people. If there was a playbook for setting up a totalitarian police state, Albion would be most of the way through it and working on the epilogue. They certainly took advantage of the fallout from the bombings, didn't they? Preyed on the fears of the city government, too. They were only too happy to hand Nigel Cass the keys to the city. Wash their hands to the whole mess. The collar will only get tighter now, friends, unless we do something. We can't wait for someone else to fight back. We are the change.
traps are disarmed. Now, if you go through the front door of the flat, it's much less likely you'll be killed.
Move one more muscle, Chief, and I'll blow the whole place with you in it.
Chill. No need to get excited.
Who the fuck are you? And what are you doing in my flat? You with Albion?
No, we're more underground.
What, DedSec? Yeah, right, and I'm Che Guevara. You done?
Listen! You're wasting time! Right now, you've got to run. Albion's coming!
Fuck me. You're telling the truth, aren't you? Fucking hell, thought I was careful. Fucking idiot, Amish! Look, Cass is worse than you know.
Oh, thanks. I know. Why else would I be risking my ass here?
Maybe, because Nigel Cass is paying you. That's how fucking mercs work.
Oh, come on. Not a friend of Cass here. We need your help taking him down, alright? He's behind the bombings.
Mate, you don't know shit. You have no idea what Cass is and what... Move! Fuck! An Albion squad's closing in on you. I guess you weren't lying about that part. Fuck, think. Shit, fine. Move table. I'll buy you some time. Just go. No!
Move it!
Don't just stand there. Albion won't be fussy about who they shoot.
You're still on the suspect. Over.
I've had quite enough of this.
All local units, the suspect is in the water.
Dispatch, deploying drones to apprehend the suspect. We're on their tail. Over.
We are pursuing the suspect. Got control, I've lost the target.
Fucking shot.
Time for me to go. Oh, shit. Returning to HQ. Search terminated.
I think all that excitement convinced our new friend Hamish that we need to work together to tackle Cass. He's willing to cooperate.
All right, Chief. That was a pretty slick escape. I believe you. So I'll say this. Nigel is planning something, and I don't think I could stop him on my own. If DedSec's everything I've heard, you'll help me.
We can help each other. There's a chance Cass had something to do with the bombings. What could he be planning that's worse than that?
No, that's not like him. Well, not exactly. See, Nigel's got to see himself as the hero. He's an arrogant twat, but he's not a cynic. Every place we go into, we would have some mad plan to fix all his problems. With robot police or automated crop fertilizing or some shit. Society was a technical problem. And people are just bugs in the software, you know? You work around them or you squash them. Sorry, Chief. I gotta switch proxy servers so they don't trace me. I'll hit you right back on voice. Listen, I've got an inside man, right? A contact in Albion. Says Nigel's got this big meeting happening at Whitetown. He'll be talking about a major project he's got planned for London.
What we need is an insider on the team.
I've always wanted to be in on a caper. Okay, first things first. We'll need eyes on the impregnable target, so off you go. I'll crack on with assembling the right personnel to round out this ragtag bunch of misfits.
Ah, shit. Albion cybersecurity sniffing my proxy IP. Must have traced the detonator signal. I've got to deal with this.